any other station.
Are they giving the party money?
Absolutely.
Nevada Republican Party Chairman Michael McDonald won another two-year term. We ask him about the division with the National Party and within the state.
Republicans are right on the edge in terms of shifting the Hispanic Latino vote.
And it doesn't matter how many you have. It matters how well organized you are.
And political titans Sig Rogich and Billy Vassiliadis weigh in on the presidential race in Nevada.
Plus, our face-off panel digs into how Nevada should handle Syrian refugees.
From 8 News Now, this is Politics Now with Steve Sebelius and Patrick Walker.
The state Republican Party has re-elected Michael McDonald as its chairman. Thanks for joining us. I'm Steve Sebelius.
And I'm Patrick Walker. McDonald won a close election against former political party titan and director Nick Phillips. Well, this year will be McDonald's third two-year term.
Those terms have been plagued by bad press over financial mismanagement and a strained relationship with the National Republican Party. I met McDonald at the state party headquarters to ask him if he can be effective going forward.
When you look back over your tenure, the criticism of the Republican Party is that it hasn't fulfilled its mission. It hasn't registered voters. It hasn't turned out voters to the polls. They look at 2014 and they said, well, yeah, Republicans did exceptionally well, but it's because Democrats stayed home as opposed to turning out more Republicans. So what's your response to that?
Well, I think in the end you have to look at the tally. You know, we did do very well in 2014. It was a national push. We've had everybody, you know, the old saying, success has 1,000 fathers, and when you lose, you're a bastard. When you look at that, we don't beat our chest and say, look how great we are, but we were behind the scenes making a lot of things happen. We work with groups inside the Republican Party. Clearly, you look at the tenure we've had. When I first took over in 2012, you know, the caucus was a total disaster. It was a total failure when you look at from the Republican side. I was called by the RNC members of the RNC when it came off the rails to try and put it back on the rails. We saw it took 3 days to count the votes, and then when we saw what happened with the Adelson School, I wasn't even in leadership then. I was called to be up on stage and try and calm everything and count the votes there. And then that morning, instead of going home, I was counting ballots all night and trying to put the memberships and the candidates back together.
Do you anticipate increasing registration after the caucus?
I believe so.
In February? Okay.
I believe so. You know, if you look at the energy we have right now with several candidates that are presidential candidates that are coming to the state, this is a serious state for them.
You can't look at the Republican Party and not notice the division that still exists in the Republican Party. It existed before you got there. It's existed for your whole tenure. It'll probably exist long after you leave. How does that division affect the party's effectiveness, you think?
Well, I think at one point, you know, I was talking to a person who's been around for a long time, you know, Sig Rogich, he brought up the John Birch Society, and I mean, going way back then. And you look at, we've always had divisions, like you said. When Aaron Russo decided to run for governor against Kenny Gwynn,
sure.
We were literally pushing blows at the showboat with some of our esteemed leaders that are now in office. But when you look at it, in the sense of that's the ugly, the dirty laundry of the Republican Party, it's always been there. But in the same respect, it's also what makes us, is we have very strong independent voices. We have people that we've been able to unite. I think in the sense of they wouldn't talk to each other before, they wouldn't sit in the same room. We've been able to bring them together, at least for the common good, to have a conversation, break bread, and realize the greater good is to have a Republican president, is to have a Republican senator.
The governor tried to do something 2 years ago, tried to run somebody against you as chairman. One of his hand-picked delegates, you beat him 193 to 112 votes. So the party members clearly disagreed with that approach. But I mean, what's your reaction to that when you have elected officials basically saying, you know, I don't want anything to do with the party?
Well, that's the second time I beat the governor's pick. The first one was against me too. So, in the sense of, look, I've known the governor a long time. I think he's a wonderful man, great family man. I think he's a great governor in the sense of, you know, we're going to disagree on issues, absolutely. I never publicly come after the governor. That's not my position as chairman. Clearly the body has a voice and the body will rule.
The National Party is reluctant to give the state party money because they're not sure it's going to be spent properly, not sure it's going to be spent effectively. What's the relationship with the Nevada Republican Party and the RNC like?
I think you can look right now. It's look, because they weren't in the room when we started putting this plan together 2.5 years ago. They have no idea where we're going. Those are just rumors and some consultants stirring a wish game to make us look that.
Are they giving the party money?
Absolutely.
How much?
A lot.
Now, McDonald also said he wants to build the party's political machine around Congressman Joe Heck, much like Senator Harry Reid did with the state Democratic Party. I also asked Republican kingmaker Sig Rogich about what Michael McDonald's re-election means to the state and how the Republican presidential race is shaping up for Nevada so far. Take a look.
So what do you think the re-election of Michael McDonald means for the Nevada Republican Party?
Well, I'm not sure if it means a lot either way, frankly. I think the party is going through a period of time when we're seeing things we never expected to see in our lifetime. Number one, Donald Trump leading a primary process. That would be a disaster for this party across the country, in my opinion. I think that it was an appeasement, probably, his re-election. You know, those caucuses where they put together elections of state chairmen are who can get their people to the meetings on time. That's the essence of it. The party really is not an organized entity anymore. It got lucky in this last election cycle. You know, it was an anomaly that the voter turnout model was so low, where it should be had been reasonably high, that we swept a lot of people into office. And now we have to feel the brunt of that because they'll be approved or disapproved in the next cycle based upon how they voted, how they handled that responsibility.
Should Brian Sandoval be more involved? I mean, he's the one guy who I never see at a Nevada Republican Party event.
Well, you know, and by the way, that's not too different from how it was in the 60s either. Paul Laxalt didn't go to those events either. So, because when you get elements in the party that are radical and they're not consensus-building entities, then you have a problem. And I think Republicans had to step out of their typical charter this time around for the sake of the state and increase taxes. The schools were in such disarray, not just from an educational standpoint of teachers and size and scope, but the schools were falling apart. You know, physically, the plants, you know, they were hot in the summer and cold in the winter, and we had to do something about it. So it took some guts to do that. And they're going to pay the price, I know, in certain elections, but I think they did what was best for the state. And I think the governor should be commended for leading that charge.
Looking long term, who has the bigger advantage? Is it the Democratic Party, which has been led for so long by Harry Reid, but Harry Reid's now leaving, and there's a question about whether the Democratic Party apparatus can work for other people, or the Republican Party, which is beset by this civil war that is going on and looks like it'll continue to go on for quite some time? Who has the best long-term advantage, do you think, in Nevada, of those two parties?
I think it's a work in motion, Steve, really. I don't think you can say who has it quite yet. Republicans are right on the edge in terms of shifting the Hispanic Latino vote because they think alike. They have the same family principles, essentially. Their work ethics are very similar. Their religious concepts come together. They've got to if they come together with a reasonable immigration plan, I think you're going to see that number change dramatically. And they hold the key to success in good part in Nevada.
Now, McDonald said he asked Rogich for advice, but Rogich said McDonald rarely talks to him. He could do a lot worse for getting advice.
Well, Sig is a Jeb Bush guy we know, and he has ties with the family going back quite a long time. But did he mention at all anybody else that he likes in the race?
Well, he did say he thinks Carly Fiorina or Marco Rubio would give Hillary Clinton a good run for their money. But he said if Trump gets elected, he's going to move to New Zealand. That's
also what he told me. I had a chance to talk to him as well. So interesting perspective coming from Mr. Rogich. Well, Arnar Partner CEO and Democratic strategist Billy Vassiliadis is no stranger to the ground game either here in Nevada. I had a chance to catch up with Billy after a Chamber of Commerce breakfast to talk about the Democratic side of the presidential race here. Does the number of boots on the ground, perhaps, that the Sanders campaign is trying to put in, does that compensate for the time spent by the Clinton campaign?
No, I don't think it does. I mean, it doesn't matter how many offices you have. It matters how well organized you are and the number of folks you've got out at the doors. You know, one thing people forget is that as much credit as Obama got in 2007 and 8 for his campaign, Hillary Clinton beat us in Nevada on the day of the caucuses. And so she knows how to organize. Her campaign manager, Robbie Mook, was the organizer for her in Nevada in 2008. So they know how to put this state together.
Well, I think the outsiders for the Republicans obviously on top. You have foreign policy and issues like that where they just would not be very familiar. And I did ask Sig this, but does that leave room now for the middle of the pack candidate to at least have governmental experience or executive experience in government to move up?
You know, I've got to tell you, I don't think that inside-outside establishment thing is going to matter to voters. I really don't. I think the level of frustration that people feel with the American government, whether it's Obama, Reid, McConnell, Boehner, whoever, they're so tired of the gridlock in Washington, D.C. They're tired of issues not getting resolved. Average wages have not gone up in this country in a number of years now. If the outsider gives them enough good reason to vote for them, if he gives them some semblance of either hope or he channels their anger, which I think is what Trump's probably doing more of, is channeling the anger of the voters. Look, this world and this country is a whole different place, and we got to quit looking at it the paradigm that we did 20 and 30 years ago of establishment and non-establishment. That's like talking about network televisions versus cable. I mean, it's all one large, we're all one large viewing public right now whose opinion changes in 12 seconds and in 14 characters. And I think that given the anger and the resentment that a lot of Americans have right now for the plight of the country, Donald Trump could do better than the Republicans would want him to do.
Well, with that the quick shifting that you see, Steve, do you think Sanders' recent push will be enough to kind of move the needle against Clinton? You know, the opinion here with Billy is not particularly, but would you agree with that?
Yeah, I think Billy's right. The number of offices that you have doesn't matter. It's getting people to the caucus and how effective you are at doing that. Hillary Clinton's going to be extremely effective at doing that. And you saw this week her campaign nationally came out and attacked Bernie Sanders over the universal health care plan, saying the taxes are going to be too high. So you've got that going on. So she's trying to strike back, I think.
We'll see how that plays out. Well, so the come Carson on terror.
I think, obviously, this is a wake-up call.
What the Republican candidate has to say about stopping potential attacks on America during a stop here in Las Vegas.
Protests over college diversity have hit UNLV. We asked our panel if it's impacting free speech in Face Off.
Whoa, Dave, did you go camping?
Came to the store for Black Friday. Saved hundreds. You?
Actually, I got a solid 8 hours.
You snooze, you lose.
Still saved thousands.
There's a more civilized way to do Black Friday. Why save hundreds when you can get a check for thousands?
Get cash back for 15% of the MSRP on select Sierra 1500 models in stock the longest. That's $7,700 on this Sierra. See your Southern Nevada GMC dealers.
The longest running retailer at the Fashion Show Mall is having a once-in-a-lifetime sale. Burger & Son Fine Jewelers. 34 years in one location, and now we're moving. Expanding to a new store over double in size. Save up to 70% off our multi-million-dollar inventory. One-of-a-kind items must be sold. Diamonds, watches, fine jewelry, precious gems, gold. Everything must go. Burger & Son at the Fashion Show Mall. Holiday shop today. It's time to save big.
It's not time to kick back and relax yet. Not until you make your home your way at this incredible sale at RC Willey.
During our Thanksgiving sale, you'll save store-wide. Save up to $500 on mattresses, plus receive a shopping spree up to $300 with qualifying mattress purchase. Rocker recliners are as low as $279. This sofa is only $599, and you'll save $500 on this dining set. This room group is only $999, and there's much more. RC Willey.
As a Ford employee, I get to give my friends a special deal on cars, trucks, and SUVs.
It's friends and neighbors pricing, and for a limited time, we're letting everyone in on this deal.
That doesn't happen every day.
And you can see the low price at Ford.com.
There it is.
And that's the low price you'll pay.
It's that easy.
You don't have to negotiate, it's hassle-free.
It's an inside deal.
Now for everyone.
Now you can get an F-150 using Ford Friends and Neighbors pricing, offering a value of $9,638. It's an inside deal. Now for everyone.
Welcome back. This is The Race Now, where we fill you in on the political stories happening in Las Vegas this week. Republican presidential candidate Dr. Ben Carson held 2 rallies and then a press conference in Las Vegas this weekend. He focused on his Christian faith and the terror attacks in Paris. Here's what he said when asked if more federal efforts should be made to protect the Las Vegas Strip.
I think, obviously, this is a wake-up call, recognizing that this is the very same kind of thing that could happen in this country. And we know that there are, embedded cells already here looking for opportunities.
Carson also said he has been getting foreign policy advice from Henry Kissinger, and his Nevada strategy is no different than the rest of the country. He will be back here on November 23rd. And Democratic candidates for Congressional District 4 held their first debate on Monday. It was moderated by Las Vegas City Councilman Ricky Barlow. Former Assembly Speaker John Oseguera, businesswoman Susie Lee, and State Senator Ruben Kuhn were there. Former Assemblywoman Lucy Flores did not take part. The winner will face incumbent Republican Crescent Hardy in the general election.
Well, so far, Susie Lee has raised the most money in that CD4 primary, and Ruben Kuhn has Harry Reid's endorsement.
Yeah, whoever wins that primary also has a pretty decent shot to unseat Crescent Hardy, as long as there aren't too many battle scars coming out of all of this.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, refusing refugees.
Our face-off panel weighs in on how Nevada should handle any potential Syrian refugees being sent into the state. Next.
Wants to win the $1.5 million Double or Nothing Swipe and Win. Keep your guaranteed winnings or take a chance to double it. Turn $500 in free slot play into $1,000. Play the kiosk game every Friday and Saturday. Best of all, earn entries every day for the cash drawings on November 29th. 10 players at every casino will win up to $10,000. The Double or Nothing Swipe and Win, only at the Station Casinos and Fiestas.
Opportunity has no slow season, no off days or downtime. Opportunity is everything you make of it. This winter, take advantage of our season's best offers on the latest generation of Cadillacs. The 2016 Cadillac SRX. Get this low mileage lease on this SRX from around $339 per month. Visit your Southern Nevada Cadillac dealer.
Stop monthly TV payments. That's right, with Mr. Antenna. Tired of paying for cable or satellite TV? Mr. Antenna is the answer. You get 45 local digital TV channels with the outdoor antenna. No monthly payments, just a one-time installation fee. Stop the circus of TV payments. Join a growing trend of people moving from pay TV. Get rid of the jumble. Call Mr. Antenna today. 608-1313.
Santa Claus. Yep, he's coming to town. But before your kid goes sitting on old St. Nick's lap, have you ever thought about the man behind the beard? Tomorrow on 8 News, now at 11. He may look the part, but should he be around your children? Michelle Mortensen goes mall to mall to find out what kind of background checks are being done before hiring Santa. Tomorrow on 8 News, now at 11.
This is Face Off, where our panel talks about the biggest issues of the week from the left and from the right.
Joining us are Annette Magnus, the Executive Director of Battle-Born Progress from the left, and from the right, KXNT radio host Alan Stock. Thank you both for coming in and joining us.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us.
So this week, the UNLV campus joined the college protests that are sweeping the country. First-year UNLV President Lynn Jessup promised the students that he would work on diversity and then listen more. So first question, are the students' goals legitimate, and are they squelching free speech by shouting down other ideas? Annette, why don't you go first?
I went to UNLV, so I'm actually kind of excited to see UNLV's students getting involved in protests and raising their voices about things that they see as inequality. And, you know, all across the country, young folks are frustrated. Young folks want their voices heard, and we always hear complaints that young folks aren't getting involved. So now's the time. They're raising their voices. They're raising their voices on social media, and I'm glad to see UNLV stepping up and joining that fight.
Alan, what do you think? Squelching free speech?
Well, yes, and in a way, these are temporary residences of this university. They're here for a short period of time, then they're out, and they'd like to be able to reconstruct the entire university. In fact, a lot of their so-called demands, I talked to one of the big officials at the UNLV yesterday, had him on my show, and he said that he thinks that the students don't quite get and understand what it is they're even asking for. They're asking for things that they're not aware of. The diversity issue. UNLV is one of the most diverse campuses in the country, and what they're asking for are things that supposedly happen in Missouri. They're not happening out here at all.
Well, let's look at another topic, the Syrian refugees. Should we be welcoming them in Nevada? How many should we be welcoming? And as far as the federal government, how do you handle that? We'll start again, Annette.
Yeah, so it's a far cry from when my relatives came here from Italy, and this is not the America I know and love. We should be welcoming these people with open arms. They're from a war-torn country. They've been experiencing the exact same terrorism that Paris experienced last week, and they're fleeing because of their lives. What I find problematic is we have the Statue of Liberty welcoming people to our shores, the tired, the poor, the huddled masses, and now we're turning those people away. We may as well just ship that Statue of Liberty back to France.
Alan, do you agree with the way the federal government would propose to handle it?
Absolutely not. I think that you're naive, I'll be honest with you. That it just came out today that one of the members of parliament in France said that two of those people who were the terrorists came in as part of a refugee undercover, as a Trojan horse. You've got confirmed 8 Syrians caught at a Texas border in Laredo, 6 men from Pakistan, Afghanistan busted illegally entering Arizona from Mexico. You've got the FBI director say it's impossible to vet every single Syrian refugee. Right now, we've got to be thinking about security of this nation, protect and defend the citizens, and that means we do not allow them here. You can have them replaced somewhere else in the Middle East. Saudi Arabia's got 1,000 air-conditioned tents or whatever it's got. Place them anywhere there. They do not belong in Europe. They do not belong in the United States, and France found that out last Friday. We've got to learn from that lesson.
Annette, I'll give you 20 seconds to respond.
Yeah, this is the same argument we heard back when the Jewish people were actually fleeing to this country, trying to escape oppression as well. And we wanted to cut off immigration and send those people back to where they're from. So we don't want that kind of thing to happen again. We want to make sure that people are welcome here, especially in a state like Nevada, where we come from all different walks of life and all over the world.
Please remember this, that the Jews were not bombing anyone. There were no killings by any Jews at all. 0 when they came here at the turn of last century, and you have tons of terrorist attacks by Islamic fascist extremists, and that's what we've got to understand. The argument about Jews versus Muslims is completely erroneous.
Not all Muslims are terrorists, so let's just say that.
No Jews committed any acts like the Muslim terrorists.
That's where we're going to leave it. I know this is going to be a big hot button topic as we continue, so we'll continue this discussion as well. Both of you, thank you for coming in.
Thanks to both of you guys. Well, the Republican Governors Association was in Las Vegas this week. I'll tell you who their biggest donors are in Following the Money. That's next.
Where's the car, Dad?
Still in the shop, but this is way better.
What?
I know, what?
Taking care of your car shouldn't take over your life. Meineke gets you back on the road fast. Get 10% off maintenance or repair services now through Black Friday. Meineke, on with life.
Does Prism TV have all the channels we watch? That's a great question. Prism TV has all the channels I watch, and lots of HD. And I like HD.
Get over 140 of your favorite channels with the Prism Essential TV package from CenturyLink. Now's the time to switch to Prism TV. Get Prism TV and internet from CenturyLink at our lowest price of the year. Just $70 a month for 1 year with autopay enrollment.
Whoa, Dave! Did you go camping?
Camped at the store for Black Friday. Saved hundreds. You?
Actually, I got a solid 8 hours.
You snooze, you lose.
Still saved thousands.
There's a more civilized way to do Black Friday. Why save hundreds when you can get a check for thousands?
Get cash back for 15% of the MSRP on select Sierra 1500 models in stock the longest. That's $7,700 on this Sierra. See your Southern Nevada GMC dealers.
The longest-running retailer at the Fashion Show Mall is having a once-in-a-lifetime sale. Berger & Son Fine Jewelers. 34 years in one location, and now we're moving, expanding to a new store over double in size. Save up to 70% off our multi-million-dollar inventory. One-of-a-kind items must be sold. Diamonds, watches, fine jewelry, precious gems, gold, everything must go. Berger & Son at the Fashion Show Mall. Holiday shop today. It's time to save big.
Where's the car, Dad?
Still in the shop, but this is way better.
What?
I know, what?
Taking care of your car shouldn't take over your life. Meineke gets you back on the road fast. Get 10% off maintenance or repair services now through Black Friday. Meineke, on with life.
The Republican Governors Association held their annual conference in Las Vegas this week. The hot topic, attempts to block Syrian refugees from entering the U.S. The two-day gathering is designed to set policy and strategize over politics. The group has been fairly successful, electing 31 out of 50 governors. Steve.
And the Republican Governors Association is the subject of this week's Following the Money segment. You can't really blame the group for keeping a lower profile than usual. Last year, the association inadvertently posted documents that listed some of its biggest donors, including those to a 501c4 organization whose names are usually kept secret. The list included insurance companies, lobbying firms, utilities, and other groups. The Corrections Corporation of America, which runs private prisons, was listed among the largest donors, those who have given $250,000 or more. Also on that list, Walmart, Big Pharma, and of course, Koch Industries. Now, the Democratic Governors Association also has a list of donors with plenty of famous names, and the Democratic governors have their own 501c4 group. According to the Center for Responsive Politics, the Republican Governors Association raised $144 million in 2014. Its top donor was the Koch Industries at $5.4 million. But number 2 on that list was Las Vegas Sands, which contributed $4.5 million. And the number 10 donor was Wynn Resorts, which gave $2 million. The Democratic Governors Association raised $98 million in 2014, with the Public Employee Union, American Federation of State, County, and Municipal Employees, the number 1 donor at $4.6 million. 6 other unions round out the top 10, as well as Bloomberg LP, which gave $2.7 million, and insurer Blue Cross Blue Shield, which donated $1.5 million. There were no casino companies in the top 10 donors to the Democrats. Patrick?
Thank you, Steve. Here are the big political happenings in Nevada next week and what to watch. Democratic presidential candidate Hillary Clinton is campaigning in northern Nevada on Monday. Her schedule has not been finalized yet. Now, she was in Nevada last in October and in the northern part of the state back in June. Republican candidate Donald Trump, meantime, is finally building a ground game here in Nevada. His Las Vegas campaign office is holding an open house on Sunday, inviting people to come in and get campaign material. The office is on Oquendo near Decatur, and his office director is Charles Munoz, who recently graduated from UNLV and is formerly with Americans for Prosperity here.
Thanks for watching Politics Now.